Right, because then you can edit, right?
Yeah, we're going to edit because, hey, we're live right now. Welcome, everybody, to our this is our actual first podcast of Coffee and Crime, although, Therese, you and I have been doing the X's podcast for almost 2 years, you think?
Something I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, like 2 years we've been doing the X's podcast, and we talked a lot about relationships during the X's, and, you know, we're X's, and we became like best buds or stayed best friends. Actually, we didn't let that go away. And so we always were about that. But when we started podcasting, we started to realize we both had a passion. Actually, we already knew we had a passion, but we both started talking about crime and criminals and stuff. We did it kind of as a lark to begin with, and then it became a regular thing. So now we have changed. No longer the X's. We are now Coffee and Crime podcast with Scott and Therese.
Yay.
And, we got our new logo there. We're going to have T-shirts. We're going to have all that stuff. We invite you, our fans, our listeners, our people, our friends. If you want to come on and talk about crime, if there's a case that you're really interested in, even a case that we're not covering that you want to come on and share with us, please let us know. You can put it in the comments. I want to be on the show. Or if you're a friend of ours, reach out to me or reach out to Therese and let us know. And there's a lot of people out there, Therese, who love this stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I mean, there are so many podcasts. There's so many live court things going on now with Court TV and all these other shows or programs. So there's a lot more people who are really interested in this stuff. We don't sensationalize people getting hurt. I just want to tell people that. When we're talking about these crimes, in no way, shape, or form are we making light of the fact that people are hurt or people got injured or something, you know? I don't know how else to put, especially with kids, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to send that message.
No.
We are interested, however, in criminal. Wow, I'm getting a. I'm on a podcast. So, I know as the phone starts ringing, and then my tablet starts ringing, and then everything. Something rang over in the corner. I don't even know what it was. I think it was one of my guitars. So anyway, so we talk about that. We're interested in catching the criminal, doing things like that. And it's just kind of, we're doing it for fun. Listen, we're not the professionals who out there actually showing up at the courthouses and doing all the reporting. There are a lot of those, but we take more of a casual view at these things, right?
Yeah.
Kind of what we find out in our own personal opinions. And, sometimes there's some humor involved. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see. Yeah. But you know what? We don't need much humor when we talk about some of these freaking cases we're dealing with.
Oh my goodness, I know. It supplies its own.
I mean, the whole thing with Sarah Boone is just, if you put this under crimes you could not believe, this would definitely be it. Just unbelievable what she did. Do you want to do the rundown on the actual crime itself?
Sure.
All right.
So Sarah Boone, Orlando, Florida, she was accused of zipping her boyfriend in a suitcase, going to bed and leaving him there to suffocate, taunting him on video. Then when they finally arrested her and she had a few lawyers, she went through 8 of them, ended up with a 9th lawyer who was doing it pro bono, I guess, is what they figured out. I mean, I don't think he's getting paid. And
well,
in between.
She did entice them, this lawyer, this 9th lawyer, this whack job from some law and burger joint or wherever he might work, with a handwritten poster that she put up in the courthouse saying, "Your opportunity to make a difference, do something, be a part of something special." It was so freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, but he responded to it. Apparently, he saw it on Court TV, apparently.
And I think anybody who responds to something like that should be disqualified from law to begin with. But beyond that, so she's wackadoo. A couple of the attorneys that she separated from just so everybody knows, she didn't fire 9 attorneys or 8 attorneys.
No.
There was one that had COVID. There's a couple other things that happened, but there were several who just said, I cannot do a defense for this woman because of how she's acting.
I think there were 4. Yeah, I think there was 4 irreconcilable differences.
Sounds like divorce papers.
I know. That's all they can really say, though, because of the privilege of the client lawyer. So they can't really disclose why, but it's been speculated on.
So you're saying the lawyer can't just go up and say, she's guilty as hell and I don't want any part of this. You can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
I would imagine. Could you imagine? I mean, I love the role of a defense attorney. Unless you're defending a guilty person. How do you deal with that?
The defense attorneys, lately, I haven't really liked them. Like any of them. The trials that I've been keeping track of, like this guy was off the wall. He was off the rails. He was as bad as she was.
Yeah.
And then the other trial that we followed, Lori Vallow there, and Chad. Oh, I didn't like his defense lawyer.
Well, apparently neither did the jury because it didn't take long to come back with put him to death, It was not a difficult decision to convict him. And it also, bring it back to Sarah Boone, 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours.
For a verdict. 1.5 hours. Now, I'm talking, it also, that includes walking down the hallway, getting settled in, getting your cup of coffee, everybody going to the potty before they start talking. So pretty much, I could say probably 45 minutes of active conversation before they said guilty.
Probably.
Maybe even less. Maybe less.
Of second-degree murder, too. They could have found her guilty of lesser charges, and they did not. They went right for the murder, too.
Yeah, second-degree murder. Which, what would have been less than that? Like manslaughter?
Yeah, voluntary manslaughter or involuntary manslaughter.
So I think the reason, because like you said, she zips him in a suitcase. There's evidence that she pushed him down the stairs while he was in there.
Yes. They didn't go into that a lot, though.
No, I don't, the guy's dead. Whether you slapped him or bumped his head before you killed him, I guess it's really not important. But she was not, she was somewhat lucid to move that suitcase around the house. She was lucid enough to have a conversation with him while he was in there and recorded it on her phone.
Yeah.
Okay. So she did all of this stuff and it still boiled down to she at no point was there any kind of indication that she wasn't trying, that it was an accident. It wasn't an accident. You couldn't really call it an accident. If it was an accident, like she did not do anything serious to cause his death, that could have been a manslaughter charge. But I think when they went with second-degree murder, they're saying she knew what she was doing.
Well, if you remember when she first did interrogations and stuff, she was saying it was an accident, that she didn't mean to fall asleep, that she didn't intend to leave him in there, that it was unintentional, all of that. But then when their defense came up with what they were going to use in court, they switched it to self-defense, that she was so afraid to let him out. So now the accident goes out the window, which, yes, probably would have qualified her, if she had stuck to that story, would have qualified her for less than second degree. But
yeah, I think the changing of the stories and moving into that abused, first of all, there wasn't a record of her being abused other than them fighting, where they were both participating in stuff. But self-defense is not self-defense. Somebody's coming at you, you throw a pan at them and you hit them in the head and you kill them. Self-defense is somebody pulls a gun, you pull a gun, you shoot them. Self-defense is somebody comes at you with a knife, you wrestle it away and you stab them during the wrestle. Self-defense is not, let me trick him into a suitcase, push him down the stairs, and then leave him sit overnight. There's no justification for that. What I don't understand is why a lawyer would actually bring up this argument knowing that there's no connection to any kind of self-defense there.
I guess he believed there was. I mean, look at George was not a perfect victim, right? Not all of them are. They had problems. They had a toxic relationship. They had both been arrested for domestic abuse. I think she was a lot more on the verbally abusive, manipulative side.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, they only had, she shared one phone. He didn't have a car. Like, he was like at her mercy, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Had they stuck with the original, we were drunk, I did something, because there's no real expectation that he's actually going to die in a suitcase if you zip him up. I never would have thought you could suffocate in a suitcase.
Well,
never would have thought it.
I guess it's positional, right? Because you have to be so scrunched up to be in there.
Yeah.
So it's like positional asphyxiation. So if his head must have been like this for say 11 hours, you eventually are going to run out of air in that small enclosed space. The more you breathe out, the more carbon dioxide is building up and the oxygen is going down.
All right. Well, you know what? The good news is that Delta Airlines has kind of doubled down on this case and has actually taken that video of him in a suitcase and used that as, if you're part of our frequent flyers, this suitcase would be free to travel with. So she could have gone to Bermuda with him and it would have been fine. So an hour and a half, they decide she's convicted of second-degree murder. Were there other charges, or did they just? Because I only heard the one charge. Usually, there's several other charges.
They only charged the one charge officially, but the judge included. They had lesser includeds, which they could vote for. So if they didn't find her guilty on the second degree, they could bump down to like voluntary manslaughter. And if they couldn't find out the criteria to that, they could bump down to involuntary manslaughter.
Okay, but there wasn't anything like what is it when you take somebody? It's not when you take somebody against their will and hold them. It's not
kidnapping.
It's not like kidnapping, but it's like restraint of a person. There's actually it's not called kidnapping, but there's, I mean, that could have been a charge. There could have been other charges because she restrained him against his will. She did a lot of weird things. And then obviously, now here's what I don't understand, Therese. Maybe you could explain this to me, because we see this in every case.
Okay.
We see people who are asked in an interview room what happened and they tell a lie or they make something up, or at the crime scene, they make something up to throw people off. She had one whole different story at the crime scene than what she had when she was in the police station, than what she told in court. So all of these are lies. Why is that not obstruction of justice? Why is that not obstruction?
I don't know. I mean, I think it is, but if you're up for a second-degree murder charge, why are they going to throw that on there? They don't need to, right?
Well, it depends, because what is the penalty for second-degree murder now? What are we looking at? Do you have any idea?
The minimum is 22 and a half years. The maximum is life.
Ooh, okay. All right. Now, all right. If it was one of those deals where it's like, you get 30 years possibility of parole and 6 or something, because you get some weird ones sometimes.
Yeah.
Then I'd want more charges to keep her in longer. But if it's a minimum of 22 and a half, she has to serve 22, cannot get out.
I believe so. That's what they said the minimum is. I mean, she's served 4.5 years, so she'll get credit for that.
Well, I just dropped my pen. Hold on. All right. So if that's the case, I hope she packed a bag.
Well, she denied the plea deal they offered her.
What did they offer her for the plea?
They offered her 15 years with time served, so she would have had to serve about 8 more years.
Because she's been in jail. She's been in jail since they arrested her.
Yes.
She didn't get out on bond or anything.
No.
Okay. So that's been about 6 years, right?
No, 4.5. I think there was.
Okay. 4.5. All right.
But between like time served and something else, they were estimating with the plea deal she would have had to serve at least 8 more years, 8 to 9.5. And she denied that.
Well, I mean, obviously she wasn't getting good advice from attorneys because she kept like dissolving their relationship. They either dumped her or she dumped them, but I'm surprised nobody said this is the best you're going to get.
I think that this guy did. I really think, honestly, I think that he came on board hoping to work out a plea deal for her. That's what he said when he first started talking to her. But,
and he did all of his lawyer stuff. He tried to have the phone video excluded. He tried to have the interview in the police station excluded. He tried all that stuff. He even tried to get a special makeup artist in to make her look good.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know who they ended up getting for her hair, but not good. Not a good. No, it was.
I don't think they got anybody for her hair.
Yeah, there was some sort of. It was all like a nice bob and then some weird bump in the front. I don't know what the hell that was. Now, here's something. You texted me almost immediately. And said, it surprised you. There was absolutely no emotion.
Yeah.
And sometimes we say that, and they do react a little. There was really no reaction whatsoever.
No.
It was like somebody was just telling her what the weather was that day. It was almost like she wasn't even listening.
Right. I agree. Did you see the part where they had her come down and show them where the zippers were on the suitcase?
It was like O.J. Simpson with the fucking gloves all over again. It was like, she couldn't operate the zippers on the suitcase.
Well, because they were broken. So that's another factor that led to his death, right? The pulls were broken off. So how are you supposed to get out of the suitcase from the inside when there isn't even a very good working zipper?
The pull things, the tabs that you pull?
Yeah.
So it took effort for her to close that then.
Yeah.
Like major effort. Because if you've ever tried to zip something up without the pull, without the tag on it, to pull it, you're grabbing it and pinching it and pulling it through. And, it's painful to your fingers.
They had like a paper clip on it or something.
Oh my. Oh my God. Here I thought they were at least using, God, if you're going to kill me, get a new piece of luggage at least. Oh my God. I got to die in this broken thing with a paper clip on it. I don't know that we'll ever come to, it might be a couple years down the road when we might get some real explanation. I don't know that she could ever give us a clear explanation of what happened. I don't know that she'll ever do that or if she's capable of doing that. Because this is a case where there was something wrong with her.
Yeah.
Whether it was possibly a substance abuse or alcohol use disorder. Certainly there's some mental issues going on there. There was some real strange things happening. This is the part that really gets me. It's like, yes, we've closed the case. She's going to jail. It's all done. But we never really figure out what happened or why.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the upsetting thing. I want like real answers.
Yeah.
I want it, but nobody knows but her because she had taken him. They don't even know what position he was in officially because she had taken him out of the suitcase before 911 got there.
Oh, she unpacked her bags before they got there, huh? What?
Yes.
Well, I know you. We've traveled together. When you get to a hotel, you like to unpack your bags right away before we do anything.
I do. Yeah.
That's her same thinking. Listen, people are coming over. Got to unpack the bag.
Apparently. But yeah, definitely alcohol abuse I believe on both of their parts, honestly.
Well, there is a history of arrests and a history of police calls, and most of them involved being inebriated.
I think all of them did.
Yeah. And, it's a shame, but.
I do agree she has some kind of mental disorder, though, because if you listen to some of the texts that she sent, she's like all over the place. First, she hates him. She's texting his mother that he's terrible and awful and that they're all terrible and go and be Hispanic and this and that and the other terrible things. And then like a half an hour later, she's like, please ask me to come over. I need a hug. is like, girl, what is wrong with you?
And that's the problem. That's the problem. And that's kind of the way the whole trial went with her, or ever since the murder.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it's gone. It's like it's this and then it's that, and then it's this and then it's that. Had she simply, again, which would have been probably the best thing in the world for her, is to say we got drunk and we did something stupid. And she would have still gotten a manslaughter or reckless endangerment, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She would have gotten some serious charge, but it would have made sense. And then you would have looked at it and said, okay, this is definitely related to alcohol and everything. But, she comes out of it. She's on the other side of it. She's not drinking and she's making up lies and stories. So that's where it's like, well, I can no longer be sympathetic to your situation or empathetic in any way, because you're saying, one minute you're saying I didn't know what was happening, the other minute you're saying I was defending myself. I mean, come on, it's just too crazy.
Right.
That's what happens. People, if you're going to do a murder, one story, stick with it, even if it's a bad story. If you stick with it, you're better than switching stories multiple times. That's what got her, I think.
I mean, I think the video got her, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the video got her because she was taunting him in there. There was clearly no feelings of fear or anything, right? If you're fearful of a person, you're not going to sit there and say derogatory things to them while they're locked up in a suitcase, because when they get out, they're going to be even madder, right?
Yeah.
So you're either going to say what you got to say and then book it out of there, or you're going to let them out in 2 minutes, like you said.
Yeah.
It doesn't jive with the whole she was so scared, because, I mean, the guy was in a confined space. He wasn't getting out. And when he did get a couple fingers out, she hit him with a bat. So, how can you say that you were in fear for your life and then you go upstairs and you just go to bed? When you're asleep, that's the most vulnerable you are.
That's right.
And if you're afraid of somebody, you're just going to go upstairs and go to sleep?
No, not in most cases. Or any cases. How's that?
Right.
And trust me, we're not saying that there wasn't abuse going on, because there was.
Yeah.
That's been documented, but it's been documented as going both ways. As a matter of fact, there's probably more incidences, I do believe, that against her than against him, as far as violence and anger. And when you're right, when she was talking on the camera phone there and saying these things, she came off as the dominant aggressor. She came off that way. There was no hint in there that this is somebody who was a victim. Somebody who was a victim may say a few of these things, then break down crying, and then run, and then call somebody, then do something else. Not just casually continue to insult and berate somebody who, like you said, if she had a thought that he could get out, then you're in danger. So this is why she lost. Not to mention the fact that it's just such an absurd crime. It is so strange.
Yeah.
This whole thing.
That was very strange. Yeah, the whole thing. And then all the letters that she wrote. And I mean, the whole entire 4.5 years, it's been a roller coaster with this case.
It really has. And this is not Lifetime movie worthy. I don't see it.
I see it.
Oh, you think it would make a good Lifetime movie?
I mean, I think somebody's definitely going to be making a documentary or a movie or something, for sure.
Documentary is one thing, and there's a bunch of mini ones out there already where you can watch these little, private things. But it's just not. It's not like it's just too absurd. It's too absurd, and it's too much. I just want to remind everybody, at one point she told the police they were playing hide and seek. I just want to remind everybody of that, just to give you where her twisted mind was, that she thought she could convince people that he was hiding from her inside a suitcase, that he could not zip or unzip.
Well, she kept that story she kept. That's the one ridiculous story that she kept the whole time.
She kept that.
Yeah. Her lawyer was saying it in court. Yeah.
This did not help her.
No. It did not help her. No. It didn't help her.
So we put this to bed. I see appeals coming down the road. But
of course.
I don't see a serious basis. She had 2 shots to get out. One was to just go with the drunk thing. The other was to go with mental disorder or mental handicap or mental something, diminished capacity. She could have done something like that.
Or the plea deal. Or the plea deal.
Or the plea deal. Yeah. She had ways out. She chose not to take it. Now she's going away for 22 years. I don't think I'm going to weep. I don't think society's worse off for this. I think we're better off for this. If she could justify doing what she did, then she is a dangerous person. Even if I don't see her robbing a liquor store with a suitcase, but you never know. You never know.
You never know.
So let's move on. We're done with Sarah Boone. If anything else happens, we'll tell you, but we're done. Sentencing is on December 2nd or 4th. I think it's the 4th.
Somewhere around there, yeah. Early December, yeah.
Early December, sentencing gives everybody time to do their paperwork and do their appeals work and all that stuff. But the judge will bring it down. I don't see any reason why he's going to do anything other than just give the basic. It's probably going to be, 25 to life, and then she's got to serve 22. It's probably going to be something like that.
Is that what you think? You think he's going to hand? Because he can hand down anything from 22 to life. I'm thinking somewhere around 25 because, listen, she does have some problems, and that has kind of been proven. I think he'll give her a lecture.
I would love to see if she's going to say anything.
I know.
Because I mean, none of what she has said has held water. So if she's going to say something, I wonder if she's actually going to give a full, listen, my drinking or this or that, or she might figure something out to say. Bottom line is she's going to get, I'm going with 25 to life, and it doesn't mean she gets out at 25, just means she has to serve 25 and then possibly get out. Although I have a feeling she may end up going from prison to a psych ward. I just got a feeling.
I don't know what time served. I don't know if they can do that though.
But
or you mean during her time there?
Yeah, during her time while she's in prison. I don't know. I mean, how stable she is. Again, while she did this act, it was under the influence of alcohol. But she hasn't proven herself to be much of a good thinker as a sober person either. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait. Now, let's move over to our the case that we've been following this case from day one. You followed it longer. I remember one day I sat down with you. It was while you were still here in Florida. I sat down and I said, would you please explain to me what the hell's going on here? Tell me. And at first I thought you were bullshitting me. I was like, that's not possible.
I know, right?
That is not possible. We're talking about the Lori Vallow-Daybell and Chad Daybell trials, the family massacre that went on, the stuff that happened. And yes, I'm calling it a massacre because in a sense it was. The family was annihilated in a lot of ways. But let's see. I just want to give people a quick reminder of what we're talking about here. And I've got a timeline that's going to tell us, what happened. And I believe this is it. No, never mind. I don't have that timeline with me. But here's what we know.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that Lori Vallow and her husband, Charles Vallow, were married. They had a daughter, and they adopted a son. And it was through a family member. It was kind of weird, but they adopted a son. So they had the 2 kids, and her husband. And everything was fine until she started getting involved with religion and met Chad Daybell. And then the relationship between Lori and Charles, her husband, fell apart. They separated. And that's where it starts going south, big time. She's spending time with Chad Daybell. She's starting to talk in these parables about the end of the world and zombies, and she's a chosen one, and all these other things. And that, she, it's like she pretty much, she talks to baby Jesus. She does all that stuff, whatever she does.
Mm-hmm. She was married to somebody, Moroni or somebody.
She was what?
Married to somebody, Moroni or something.
Oh, you mean in a previous life?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, she was some Aztec goddess or something. I don't know what it was. Some weird thing. But anyway, so while they're separated, just through a series of incidents, she was staying in a house, and Charles came, and he was supposed to come and pick up the kids, bring them to school, I believe, that morning or something.
Yeah.
And when he came in, he was kind of ambushed. Whereas he got into an argument with Lori's brother, Alex, who's going to be a very big part of this story. Alex staged a fight, or actually probably tried to instigate a fight between him and Charles. Part of this time, Lori and the kids were in the house, and then at the end, Lori and the kids got out. Or was the young girl still there when the shot happened?
I don't know. That's up in the air.
I think they got her out, and then Alex went into his room that he was using as basically a mattress on a floor kind of thing. Went into his room, grabbed his gun, came out, and shot Charles, and they called it self-defense. He went out and sat on the curb, waited for the police. Lori comes home. They tell Lori that your husband, estranged husband, they are not divorced yet. The estranged husband has been shot and killed by her brother. And she proceeds to make jokes about what are the neighbors going to think about this.
Right.
There was not one moment where she said, oh my God.
Right.
There was not one moment where she says, well, how? How did this happen? Not one, was there?
No. Can I see him?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
She stayed outside giggling, drinking coffee.
Right. She was laughing. Yeah.
Oh, it was disgusting. And the brother was just so cool and calm. And he's saying, listen, he came in. We got in a fight. He hit me with, I think he hit him with a bat, he said, or something.
Yeah, I don't believe any of that. But
yeah.
Yes.
And he went into his bedroom and he came out and he shot just out of self-defense, which actually is strange. And they kind of ruled it as a self-defense case. They weren't looking at it. There was still an investigation, but they weren't heavy onto murder, were they?
No.
Not even close.
No, not even close. I think
had nothing else happened, it probably would have been self-defense and nothing would have happened ever.
Well, I think as far as that jurisdiction was concerned, it was self-defense until all of this other stuff started coming up with the same players. Now it's different.
This was in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
After all this stuff happened, she and the kids are in where are they? Utah now.
No, they moved to Idaho.
Idaho, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Idaho. Idaho to be near Chad Daybell and Tammy Daybell. And her and Chad.
Not to be near Tammy, but okay.
Well, no, Tammy's one of the victims. But her and Chad had the world's worst kept secret that they were in a relationship. Every friend, every person who testified said, yeah, we knew. I mean, we knew. They were constantly praying over each other, and I'm using that as a euphemism for something else. But Chad was still married.
Yes.
And Lori's now got these two kids after Charles is gone. She's still got these two kids. And, now I get a little fuzzy on what happens next. The kids disappear next, then Tammy dies. Is that correct?
Yes. Tylee, who was her daughter from a previous marriage, she was last seen early in September 8th or something like that at the Yellowstone. And then nobody ever could document her being alive again after that day. And then her younger brother, who was adopted, I think it was like 2.5 weeks or so later, towards the end of September in the 20s, maybe the 22nd, 23rd, he all of a sudden was never seen again.
Right. And it didn't show up at school. Lori actually signed them out of school, said we're taking them out of school. She did all that.
Tylee was never in any school. She said that she was going to BYU, but she never was enrolled in anything. She called the school and said she was going to homeschool JJ. And then I believe it was October when Tammy was killed.
Yeah. So now they're looking for the kids, not officially yet, but
No.
the grandparents are saying, where the hell are these kids? And they're calling the police saying, they won't talk to us. They won't tell us where the kids are. We got friends asking. Nobody's saying anything. The police start to get a little interested. And meanwhile, like you said, Chad's wife dies mysteriously in her sleep. A physically fit, no medical issue woman just dies in her sleep.
Yeah, 49 years old.
And then he's got the cojones to say, oh, she's had medical problems with her heart. She's had medical problems with this. And it's like, dude, you can't just say that. You've got to have some backup for that.
Now, I forget when, I believe, right, the attempt on Brandon back in Arizona happened in between.
Prior to the kids.
Tammy. No, I think it happened in between the kids and Tammy.
Oh, okay.
Because Arizona called Idaho to follow up on this Jeep that they thought was involved in a crime. Right?
Okay.
And so that's how Idaho even got a little bit of notice that something funky was going on. And then they started hearing the same names. And then the grandparents called and asked, well, do you see a little boy around with them? And so this all. And then they found out that the Jeep was actually Tylee's Jeep, but Tylee wasn't driving the Jeep.
Yeah. So what do we got so far? We've got the husband of Lori killed, self-defense, set up in Arizona. Then they go to Idaho. Kids disappear. Nobody could find them anywhere. Then back in Arizona, somebody takes a shot at her niece's husband.
Correct.
Which you got to beg to wonder, was he getting close to something, to finding out something, and that's why they shot at him or something? You don't know.
I think he had the big life insurance policy they wanted. Before the divorce was final.
So Charles dead, attempt on the nephew, 2 kids missing, and now Tammy ends up dead. So that's 4 people dead, but in a 5th attempted murder.
Yeah.
Between Tammy and Charles.
Yes.
And, Charles went to trial. Tammy went to trial first.
Lori went to trial first.
Sorry, Tammy went dead first. Lori went to trial. I always do that. Why am I so twisted?
Well, Alex also died suddenly.
Oh, the brother who was a part of every one of these murders. Everyone.
Yeah.
Even when Tammy Daybell, I got her name right, Tammy Daybell was killed, he was in the vicinity when that happened. There was no other reason to be in that vicinity. He was very nearby.
Yeah.
So, and he was the last one to be seen with JJ. He was the last one to be seen, or one of the last ones to be seen with Tylee. He was seen transporting stuff. It's just like it's a mess.
It's a mess.
And he dies from apparently some sort of heart failure.
Yeah, some sort of natural causes, apparently.
Do you think they're not digging into that and looking for some sort of?
I think
got to be some poison from some sea urchin in the South China Sea that they dug out just to inject him and make his heart stop. I don't see this. What a huge coincidence that he would die suddenly.
The day after they exhumed Tammy's body. Yeah. Very coincidental, but they did do a full autopsy. They did rule it as natural causes. He did have some, he wasn't physically fit. He had some problems. He had some high cholesterol. He had some heart issues. So it's not inconceivable.
He also had a murderous rage. That's not good either, That's
not good. So, I don't think anything will ever come any different of that. I don't believe that it was natural causes, but that's what they ruled it as.
Yeah, at this point, they got enough to worry about. So they charge Lori, and she gets charged with the murder and the accomplice to murder for Tammy and murder for the 2 kids. She gets charged for those and gets life. She gets life. They took death penalty off the table.
Yes, for her,
she got like triple life, whatever it is. She's going to die, come back as somebody, and they're going to have to put that person in jail. So she gets that.
Meanwhile,
Charles is sitting in jail this whole time watching her in her trial. Then he gets
Chad.
That's Chad. Charles and Tammy are dead. Stop it. Chad is in jail watching this. Then his trial comes up, and it actually was quite speedy for a murder trial of that magnitude. It was quite speedy, and I think it really had to do with most of the groundwork was laid with Lori's trial.
Yeah.
So Chad, after short order, was charged in the murders of the 2 children and his wife. You know, so now, well, we're forgetting something. We got the 2 kids and the wife that now were covered. What about Charles, the husband, the first one who was killed in this setup? Now, Lori, who is now life in prison in Idaho, has now gone back to Arizona to stand trial for the murder of her husband.
Yes, and the attempted it on Brandon.
And the attempted. Now, that's what gets everybody caught up. By the way, Chad got death penalty.
Yeah.
Chad got death penalty. Different. Don't know why he didn't get a deal if she did.
I
just don't know.
I don't know either, but well, I mean, the judge is the one that decided to take the death penalty off the table for her, right? Because of some discovery differences, and then she was insisting on a speedy trial. Chad was not. They were supposed to be on trial together, but because they had to separate that.
Yeah. Well, I could also say that Chad killing his wife, it appears it was a hands-on murder. Now, with these other ones, we're not sure if Alex did stuff or who did stuff to the kids or whatever, but this was proven that he suffocated his wife. So I think that takes it up to the next level. He did this with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's charged. Now she's going back to face murder. I don't believe she can get the death penalty in Arizona either.
No.
So this is just going to probably add another life term on top of her 3 life terms that she's already got. But now things are starting to happen that are interesting.
Yeah.
Because now, after her first trial, in her saying, I will not claim mental incapacity. I will not say mental illness. I will not say diminished capacity. I will not say any of these things. None. Now she's starting to backpedal on that, and her lawyer saying that they're going to be starting to look at a mental defense. Have you heard this?
I heard that, but did you hear the latest?
No.
Really?
Go for it.
Honest to God, you didn't hear this?
About her representing herself?
Yeah.
I did not get any articles on that today. I could not find it, so I'm hoping you know the info on it.
All I know is that she has petitioned the court to now represent herself. She doesn't want to be represented by a public defender. And she obviously is indigent because she's in jail, so she wants to represent herself now.
I don't believe people should be able to do that.
Why not?
Not in a murder trial.
I don't think it's murder there. I don't think it's murder there.
Well, it's conspiracy to commit murder. He's got to get at least conspiracy plus attempted.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter, because the truth is conspiracy in almost every state, conspiracy to commit murder carries the same penalty as murder itself.
Except in Arizona.
Except in the one state. Great.
Yeah, because
So what is conspiracy? A misdemeanor?
Well, no, not a misdemeanor, but no, but it is a lesser. In Arizona, recognizes it as a lesser. So yeah, that's what I know. She wants to now represent herself. She's petitioned a court. The judge has to rule on this, but
well, anybody who has paid attention. Oh, and plus they've also asked. Lori's very upset they're going to allow cameras in the courtroom. She does not want cameras in the courtroom, does not want this thing on TV. I'm sorry. You've already been running across the middle in the other one. Let this one go. Just put on your big girl pants and deal with it.
Right.
But anybody who saw her speak at the end of the trial in Idaho, where she got the 3 life sentences, the 3 murders, she was able to speak at the end on her own behalf, not testify, but when she spoke at the end and just, before the sentencing.
Her allocution.
Yeah, the amount of dogma that she is, the amount of just strangeness that she dug out, and talking about how her children talk to her and they're happy and they're okay with what she did. And Jesus tells her and she does, she's going through all this stuff. And I'm like, there was nothing grounded in reality there at all, which tells me that if she's asking to represent herself, you should have to pass a competency test. And I don't know if they do that, but you cannot put somebody like her, if she's going to stand there and talk about what God told her to do. Because when she killed Charlie, when she conspired to kill her husband, Charles, she already decided he was a zombie and he was going by some other name.
Yeah.
So she's full goose bozo. She cannot represent herself. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this pans out, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Well, her son Colby has a podcast now called Scar Wars. And
he was like the normal one in the family, right? The one who got away from everybody, kind of?
Well, he had some problems, but yeah, he's doing much better now. But he would only talk to her if she would agree to let him put it on his podcast, the conversation, to record the conversation.
His mother?
Yeah, because he hasn't talked to her in like a year. Well, he hasn't talked to her in like 4 years. And I think that she agreed to it because she really was trying to get him back in her life, because he has 2 kids now and 1 on the way. And she really wants to be like in their life. But at the end, he told her, no, it's not happening. Like, I can't have you a part of my kid's life. I can't have you in my life. But during this conversation with his mother in prison, she was telling him that Tylee killed JJ and that she was protecting Tylee. Tylee killed JJ and then killed herself, which makes no sense because Tylee was killed 3 weeks or so before JJ was. Everybody saw JJ in those 3 weeks. Well, not everybody, but there were sightings of JJ. There was proof of life in those 3 weeks.
Yeah.
After Tylee was missing. So, I mean, I don't know why you would tell your son this about his sister that he thought the world of. But she's delusional. This is how she sleeps at night. She talks herself into these scenarios that make it more comfortable for her to live with, I think.
Yeah. Just to have her say, I want to be part of those kids' lives. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's not a good thing. You don't ask for that. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
She's definitely hell-bent to cause a bit of a stir this time. It seems like she's a little more active in this than she was even in the other one.
Yeah.
I think it's because when a lot of the mess started, they were still not even completely convinced. They were still finding out if the remains were proper and all these other things. There was too many secrets to keep. On this one, there's not a lot of secrets to keep. She's saying it's self-defense. It's cut and dry. She doesn't have to lie a whole lot other than her intention. So I guess she's going to be a little more vocal on this one. But I'd really like to see if she's going to come forward and talk about he was a zombie and she did this to take zombies out of the world. I really want to know if she's going to do that. Do you think so?
I don't know. I don't know what she's going to say. Be honest.
You think all of a sudden she's going to get rational on us?
No. I don't think she's going to get rational at all. No.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
She's never going to admit any wrongdoing, right? She's going to she's going to spin this story about how she was afraid of her life and her brother protected her and blah, 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 blah. And how he went after Tylee, which I don't think any of that is true. I think the poor guy came to the house to take his son to school. I think he was ambushed the minute he got in the door. I don't think there was any fight. I don't think there was any argument over the phone. I don't think there was any bat. I don't believe any of that.
Yeah, we actually have, there's actually video footage of Charles dealing with issues with his wife, with police and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was not an emotional, irrational guy.
No,
you could see, even though he was angry, he was reserved and calm. And I don't know that there's anywhere that there's any kind of information about him being that kind of violent person. But he certainly didn't show it at times when you could have expected it. Like when he couldn't get his kids, he's telling the police, I got to find the kids I need her to be looked at because I think she's going to hurt herself or hurt the kids.
Yeah.
He was calm the whole time and very, very well represented himself very well. So,
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how do they convince them that this all happened. I hate to say it, Therese, but this is one of those times when I'm like, it's kind of already a done deal. I know that's not the right thing to do when you're talking about trials and cases and stuff.
Right.
But of course, a lot of people said that about the OJ trial too, and look what happened. So
I know. I mean, either way, I would like justice for Charles because I do believe that he was genuinely trying to get her help. He was afraid for his kids. He was afraid for her own mental stability and health. You know, he thought she was going to hurt herself or hurt the kids, and he really wanted to get her help. And people just blew him off. They ignored him. Even like her brother, who claimed he had come there to help him, didn't really help him.
Yeah. And listen, you know, we've had people from our past who have been hurt or passed away, things like that. And even if you're not in contact with them anymore, even if you didn't like them that much, you still feel the emotion. There's an emotion that goes on with that. And if you truly want to watch something chilly, ladies and gentlemen, go on YouTube and check out her interview after the murder of her husband, Charles. Her interview in the police station, where 80% of it is her goofing around and joking. And her just talking about random shit and sitting there and drinking her iced tea or whatever she had. It was surreal. It was like, do you not realize that somebody died tonight? It was almost that. Like she had no reaction to a death of anybody, of a human being. Forget about her husband.
Right. Yeah.
And I know that doesn't mean everything, but.
And you were like, okay, so you were there, whether she was in the house when he was actually shot or not. I believe she was, but that's beside the point. But even if you were outside and that happened, are you going to say, oh, I have to take my son to school? This kid is 4 years old. So I guess he was 7 or something like that. But these kids have been through this. A 16-year-old and a 7-year-old have been witness to this. Even if they weren't actually there, they knew something weird was going on, right? And you're going to drop this kid has autism, so he is, has his own disability problem.
Yeah.
And you're going to go and just drop him off at school? You're going to go drop him off at school.
It was serious enough to shoot somebody because everybody was threatened, but not serious enough to take your kids out and get them somewhere safe instead of just dropping them off like a normal day. Makes no sense. You're right.
Right. Going to stop at McDonald's on the way, get him his chicken fries. Like, how do you even justify that?
Well, I can tell you exactly how to justify that. That's what you do when you're trying to convince kids to tell a story. You give them something, you give them a treat, you give them a reward for learning the story about what happened. Kylie was scripted when she talked to the police. JJ was too young.
Yeah.
But they were both, they were taken somewhere. They were told, Daddy and Uncle Alex are fighting and this is happening and and she got them on board with the story is what she did. If she just took them to school, she wouldn't have had time to do that. She had time to process them into compliance, if you will. So, and that's we see this all the time, especially in cases of abuse and different things where somebody's, they reward a kid, they do something, and they're trying to. It's almost like a hypnotism moment where you get them on the same. But anyway, that's what happened, and now we're looking at that February 2025 is when we're looking at the end of February. I think it's 25th or something at the end of February. In 2025, we see this thing go to court. Coming up, we're also going to see the new court case for Karen Reed, the woman who supposedly ran over her boyfriend in front of a cop's house who was a friend and during a party in a winter storm. And all the things that don't add up in that thing could fill a wheelbarrow. There's so many things that are wrong with that.
Yeah, that's a weird one, too.
It already went to trial and it got thrown out. or hung jury. So now it's coming back again. And this is one of those rare cases when somebody says they're out to get me and it's a conspiracy, that I actually am believing in the conspiracy on this one. I'm actually believing in it. So we're going to see that come around. I believe that's coming around in April. Or no, that might be earlier. But we got we got that case coming up. We've got the case of the college murders that has been moved to Boise for the court case, and that's coming up in 2025. And we're going to be looking for other cases too. We'll certainly keep you involved in what's going on with the Daybell Vallow clan. The
806 clan.
The cult of zombies, and we will keep you up to date with that. And we want people to give us their suggestions too, right, Therese?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's a case that isn't getting much attention or seems interesting, let us know.
Yeah. Cold case, newer case, maybe a case from the past, just something that's interesting that you want to cover. Jack the Ripper or the Zodiac Killer or something. If there's a special, case you'd like us to talk about, we'll talk about it. We are not professional lawyers. We are not. We're not people to sit in trial. I've been around lawyers. They've helped me quite a bit many times. But we're not those guys. We're not the ones sitting outside the courtroom and interviewing the aunts and the uncles and doing all that. We're the ones who just kind of take a little bit of everything we could find, put our own spin on it, and this is really just for entertainment. Nothing we say is to be taken as true fact or legal. Absolutely not.
No, nothing we say.
And you know what? We got about 2 minutes left, Therese. Tonight's Wednesday. Tomorrow is Halloween.
Tomorrow's Halloween.
So what do you want to tell people about Halloween? What do you want to say? Any messages for Halloween?
Just be safe. Go out with your kids, have a light or something reflective on, and have a good time.
That's it. I'll be setting up my disco outside the house, and got my lights, my fog lights ready, and my reflective stuff, and it's going to be a good time. But like Therese, go out and have a good time, but go with your kids. I see less and less parents doing this, but when we see the family groups, Therese and I used to do the Halloweens together. We'd have when you see the mom and the dad and the 2 kids or the 3 kids or the 18 kids we see them walking, and it's like so cool, and they all have such a good time with the experience. Don't miss out on that. Spend some time with the kids.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously be safe. Reflective material. Don't eat unwrapped candy. I mean, I think we've pretty much dispelled of the razor blades and the apple myths and all that.
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
I think so too.
Yeah, those are all gone. But just be safe, and you know what? Don't eat all your candy in one night, because it's really gross the next morning. I'm telling you right. I'll tell you right. Therese, you going out? You handing out candy? You going over to the kids' house? What are you gonna do?
I'm going to walk around the neighborhood with the kids. Yeah.
Are you gonna dress up?
Be fun. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I don't think I am. I'm only, they're little, so they only last about an hour, and then they have a friend's party that they go to. So that's when I usually go home. But yeah, it should be fun. I'm going to help with the hair and getting them all ready to go.
I miss the good old days. Your brother and I stealing kids' candy and just having a great time.
Lovely.
I only stole the good stuff, the Heath bars and the Reese's Pieces. All right, so this has been Coffee and Crime with Scott and Therese. I want to thank you guys for joining us, being a part of the show, and don't forget to like the show. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends and leave us comments. It's important. Leave us comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the cases we're talking about or anything else. But for now, I'm Scott.
I'm Therese.
We're wishing everybody a happy Halloween, and we will catch you in 2 weeks with more of Crime and Coffee. Bye-bye now.
Bye.